Da na 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 na. Bum bum ba da na 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 na. Okay, this is Ephraim Geltman from the nation of Breslov. Get it, like the nation of Islam. Okay, so in Rebbe Nachman's Wisdom, the Aryeh Kaplan translation, the Rebbe says, sexual temptations result from depression. Sexual temptations result from depression. You should therefore make every effort always to be joyful. So in the West, we have to qualify this. A lot of people say, what's wrong with sexual temptation? Isn't that great? Not always. Yes, we're supposed to have sexual desire for a holy reason, bring kids into the world, making our partner happy that we're married to, this kind of thing. It's not supposed to be some random thing. This results from depression. You should therefore make every effort to always be joyful. The Rebbe said even when one is trapped in quicksand, he screams and screams and screams. By the way, this is page 256 if you want to find it. Even when one is trapped in quicksand, he screams and screams and screams. The Rebbe then raised his hand slightly and he said no more. So it's famous in Breslov, they say if you're plagued by problems, you should scream to God. Scream for help. Saying like someone's in quicksand. If someone's in quicksand, they still scream. Okay, so Ayurveda is the health tradition of India. And my mentor told me there's, I think he said, a 66 generation succession. A father taught his son everything he knows for 66 generations in a row, from the beginning of time or whatever. I think it comes out to 3,000 years or 2,500 years, something, a long time. So in that tradition, there's a saying that 100 portions of food makes a man's body distills that into 1 drop of blood. And 100 drops of blood in the body, a man's body distills that into 1 drop of semen, male seed. So in other words, every time a guy loses seed, spills seed, as they say in Kabbalah, it comes out to basically like a month's worth of food, more or less. Kind of heavy duty, right? And so for the women out there, so women often, modern women, when they learn this, they'll often say to me, so we don't have to worry. And the idea is, why is there this encouragement for modesty and holiness? By the way, breslov isn't just for Jews. Torah is for the whole world. Breslov is for the whole world. There's big movements afoot nowadays for non-Jews being connected to the Torah called the No-Hide movement. So women will often say, "Oh, great! So I'm okay." The idea is that if you're helping if you're helping a man to spill seed, then you're basically helping kill him, right? There's a story in the Torah about that with Onan and Tamar. And she wants to stay looking attractive, so she doesn't want to get pregnant, and they're spilling their seed, and God kills everyone. So don't be a killer. Don't be a killer, ladies. Be help bring life into the world. Okay, so to segue for a minute, it seems like a segue, but it's not. Why breslov instead of all these other ways of working on your health and spirituality and well-being? You can lift weights, meditate. In yoga, people go to the woods and do breathing. In breslov, you go to the woods and do breathing. In yoga, you go meditate. In breslov, you meditate. Whatever. What's the difference? Part of it's what we're talking about with the sexuality. A lot of the modern health movements, it's kind of a process of building up the health and draining it, building it and draining it. Often largely through the sexuality, because people get very healthy and sort of frisky, and they don't know their boundaries well. So this is part of the job of the Torah, is to give us all some boundaries and some guidelines. What to do when, what to not do when. And I mean, in all the real paths of yoga and Buddhism and all that, they're also very into sexual continence, and people will become monks and nuns for their entire life to work on this idea. So I'm more addressing the modern health crowd here. And why would we do this holy breslov thing instead of becoming a monk in Buddhism or a yoga monk? That's a long story, and I was actually connected to that world for a very long time and almost went that direction, so we can have more about that story later. So there's an idea that too much sex or the wrong kind of sex is leads us to death, and that the proper building of health and proper sexuality brings life, brings us eternal life. But Rabbi Nachman says when the Moschiach, when the Savior of the world comes, people will still die. So whatever, we just have to do as good as we can while we can, and see what happens. We should all be healthy. So it goes on. The Rebbe then spoke about disturbing thoughts that often trouble a person in this area, in the area of sexual temptation, like getting carried away. If people are married, they can have thoughts of infidelity. If they're single, they can have thoughts of impropriety, etc., etc. So Rabbi Nachman quoted the Talmudical maxim: "Trouble is bad enough when it comes, but one should not be disturbed by the trouble either before or afterwards." So we're gonna have all sorts of crazy thoughts about improper things, not just sexuality. There's plenty of improper things, and every meditation system, including breslov, teaches the same thing that I've ever heard. That when the kind of thoughts we don't want come, that's it. We accept them, and then we change our track. We don't build on the thought. If someone has a thought of killing someone, they don't obsess about it. That's crazy. Okay, let it go and go back to something healthy. If someone has a thought of infidelity, okay, accept it. Okay, for some reason that came up, and then bring the concentration back to something good, something positive, something uplifting. A lot of systems that I don't hold by so much, people will go into the real negative stuff, go deep into it and try to work it out. Freud was in the Oedipus complex. Sleep with your mom, kill your dad. We don't. Freud actually came from religious. His grandparents were religious or something, and he was sort of obviously one of the big forerunners of these heretical movements. Not that he doesn't have good things, not that all these heretical movements don't have good things, but we want to take the good and leave the bad, and not get carried away with studying other things that have a lot of bad mixed in them. Okay, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you think I'm wrong about anything, I'd like to hear it. And the best way of dealing with improper sexuality is for all of us singles to get married. I'm accepting any help to get married, and I also helped some people get married or engaged in the past. So if you need help to get married, please ask me. And all the married people should have blessings for a good life and healthy life. And take care.